Hi, my name is Nathan, and I've been a caregiver for the elderly long enough that most things don't rattle me anymore. The job is routine in a way people don't understand until they've done it. It's the same hallways, the same call lights, the same paper charts with smudged ink, the same nightly rounds where you listen for breathing and check for falls. It's bathing someone who forgets why they're angry, changing linens that shouldn't need changing, coaxing pills past stubborn pride. You learn how to keep your voice steady. You learn how to be kind without getting swallowed whole. After a few years, it stopped feeling hard. It just felt like my life, until 2 weeks ago, on January 9th. That date mattered to me for a small, private reason. It was the day I first started this job, 4 years back. I didn't think about it that morning. I didn't connect anything to it. I only noticed later, when my brain started digging for meaning like a desperate animal scratching at a door. The front entrance was quiet when the new resident arrived. Outside, a clean, dark vehicle rolled up and stopped like it knew exactly where to be. A man stepped out. Neat clothes, calm face, movements that didn't waste an inch. He opened the rear door and helped another man out slowly, carefully, as if unloading something fragile. The second man was Tom Sunderland. The front entrance was quiet when the new resident arrived. Outside, a clean, dark vehicle rolled up and stopped like it knew exactly where to be. A man stepped out. Neat clothes, calm face, movements that didn't waste an inch. He opened the rear door and helped another man out slowly, carefully, as if unloading something fragile. The second man was Tom Sunderland. I only knew his name because the man said it like a code word at the desk. "This is Sunderland," he told the receptionist. "Tom Sunderland." Sunderland didn't look like most of our residents. His file said he was very old. The body in front of me looked closer to 50. Strong shoulders, decent posture, no tremor. But his eyes didn't match. His eyes were used, not tired, not confused. Used, like tools that had been handled too long. And his movements were wrong. Not weak, not unsteady. Just painfully slow, like he moved through syrup on purpose. Each step was measured. Patient, turtle slow, like he was rationing motion. The man slid paperwork over the counter. "He's getting old," he said, and it sounded like a lie told out of habit. "He's been causing problems in the neighborhood." "What kind of problems?" the receptionist asked. The man's mouth tightened. "The kind you don't want near kids," he said. He signed, set a small paper bag of personal items on Sunderland's lap, leaned down to murmur something in Sunderland's ear, and left. No lingering, no goodbye. Just a clean exit, like dropping off a package. Sunderland didn't react to the whisper. He didn't blink. He just stared ahead, as if the building had always been waiting for him. For the first few days, he didn't speak. He ate sealed food from his room. He sat alone in the common area sometimes, hands folded, staring at a television that wasn't even on. At night, when I passed his door on rounds, I heard nothing at all. Not a cough, not a snore, not the rustle of someone shifting in bed. It should have been comforting. On the fourth day, it stopped being comforting. The other residents started watching him. Not the bored, nosy way. Fear, real fear. Old hands clenched on armrests. Conversations died when he entered a room. A woman who always asked about the weather stared at the floor whenever he passed, lips moving silently like prayer. I asked a coworker if she'd noticed. She shrugged without meeting my eyes. "New people unsettle them," she said. "They're old, but the way they watched Sunderland, didn't look like unsettled. It looked like recognition. I made the mistake of asking Sunderland directly. Late afternoon, day 5. He was in the common area again, sitting under the flat overhead lights, hands folded, thumbs hidden. I kept my tone gentle. "Mr. Sunderland," I said, "some of the others seem uneasy around you. Are you having trouble with anyone?" He waited before answering, letting the silence stretch until I felt stupid. Then he turned his head slowly and looked right into me. "They remember what comes next," he said. "What comes next?" I asked. His gaze drifted down the hallway like he was watching something I couldn't see. "The part where someone thinks they're helping," he said. I didn't know what to do with that. I nodded, like it was just another strange remark, and went back to my tasks. That evening, I was on duty for the late shift. The building always changed after midnight. The air got thinner. Sounds traveled farther. Even the lights felt different. Too bright for sleeping faces, too dim for corners. The desk call panel glowed patiently, rows of little squares waiting to blink. I was stocking linens when Sunderland approached me. I didn't hear him coming. He just appeared beside the cart, close enough that I smelled nothing. Not mints, not coffee, not body soap, just cold air. "Nathan," he said. I stiffened. I hadn't told him my name. "There are things you need to know," he continued, practical as a man reading instructions off a label. I glanced down the hall, suddenly aware of empty space. "Whatever you hear," he said, "don't come near my room on the evening you're on duty." "Okay," I replied automatically. "Privacy, boundaries, sure." His expression snapped into anger so fast it felt like a light flicker. "I'm serious," he said. "Don't come near." "Okay," I repeated slower. His anger drained away, replaced by something worse. Pity. "If anything strange happens," he said, "put your thumb in your mouth and suck it like a baby." I stared at him, waiting for the punchline. "There's a reason," he added, like he could hear my thoughts. "Your mouth can't do two things at once." Before I could ask what that meant, he continued. "And one last thing. Whatever you do, don't turn off the lights, even if you're asleep." Then he turned and moved down the hallway toward his room, turtle slow, patient as a closing door. I stood there gripping the linen cart, trying to decide if he was confused, manipulative, or simply weird. The desk call panel chimed once. Normal. I got through the next hour by burying myself in routine, checking residents, making notes, refilling water cups, adjusting blankets. Every time the call panel dinged, I answered it. Every time I passed Sunderland's hallway, I made myself look away. Around midnight, I heard it. A long, wet exhale from down the hall, like someone trying to hum through a mouthful of water. I froze with my pen hovering over a chart. The sound came again. Longer, almost pleased. A third time, softer, like a baby fussing. My brain tried to label it. Breathing issue, sleep apnea, something medical, something explainable. Then Sunderland's rule surfaced. "Whatever you hear, don't come near my room." I forced myself to stay put. The call panel lit up. One square blinking, I answered it. A resident needed the bathroom. I helped, washed my hands, returned to the desk. The hallway was quiet. I let my shoulders relax, and then voices started rising from other rooms. Not one voice, several. "Sunderland," someone called, thin and sharp. "Enough, Sunderland!" Another voice snapped, angry and shaking. Then more voices layered in, a whispering chorus that made my skin tighten. "It's time," they breathed. It's time to be born. Born. Call buttons started chiming in quick succession. Ding, 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 like nervous fingers pressing pendants in panic. The desk panel lit up in a row of blinking squares. Red, then red, then red. I moved automatically. Training overrides fear. I answered the first call. A woman sitting bolt upright, eyes wide, pointing at the doorway like someone stood there. "He's moving," she hissed. "He's moving again." "Who?" I asked, though my stomach already knew. "Sunderland," she said, and the name cracked like glass in her mouth. Next room. A man gripping his blanket with white knuckles, whispering, "Don't let him bring it in." "What are you talking about?" I asked. He shook his head hard. "It's time to be born," he whispered, and it didn't sound like his thought. It sounded like something using his voice. As I backed out, the wet exhale drifted down the hall again, closer now. And under it, quiet, careful, my name. Nathan. Not shouted, not spoken like a person speaks, shaped, syllable by syllable, like someone tasting it. Sunderland's comment clicked in my head. Your mouth can't do two things at once. The call panel chimed again. A pendant buzzed somewhere. A door creaked as someone shifted in bed. The hallway felt crowded even though I couldn't see anyone. I didn't mean to go towards Sunderland's room. I did anyway. I told myself I was checking on a resident. I told myself I was being responsible. The truth is, the sound pulled me like a hook. When I reached his door, the light above it flickered once. Just once. Like a blink. From behind the door came a humming, low and rocking, a lullaby without words. The door wasn't locked. That was the first wrong thing. I pushed it open. The room was dark except for the slice of hallway light. The bed was made. The chair by the window was empty. Sunderland wasn't there. My heart sank, slow and heavy. Behind me, close enough that I felt breath, a voice said, "I knew you'd do this." I turned. The hallway wasn't the hallway. Not for a full second, but long enough. It stretched too far. The overhead lights looked distant, like stars. The doors on either side bulged slightly, as if something inside was pressing outward to listen. The desk call panel chimed somewhere, but it sounded like it was inside my skull. Ding. The world tipped. I woke up in the staff sleeping room, overhead light glaring, my blanket folded, my shoes neatly under the chair, like I'd never left. For a minute I lay there, chest heaving, trying to convince myself it was a stress dream. I stumbled into the hall. Everything looked normal, quiet, harmless, residents asleep, no chanting, no humming. Sunderland's door closed. Nothing. I told myself I dozed off at the desk and dreamed the rest. I went back into the sleeping room, jaw tight, embarrassed by my own fear. My hand went to the light switch out of habit. Click. Darkness swallowed the room for a beat, one beat too long, and in that instant I felt something notice me. Not a sound, a recognition, like a camera flash without light. My blood went cold. I slapped the switch back up. The light buzzed on again, too bright, too late. Sunderland hadn't said, "Don't leave the lights off for long." He'd said, "Don't turn them off." Even for a second, I stood there breathing hard, staring at the bulb like it could undo what I'd done. That's when the whisper began. Not from the hallway, from inside the room. A lullaby hum, soft and rocking, like the sound had been waiting for darkness to touch me once. I backed away from the corners, eyes darting, trying to locate it. The humming didn't come from a point. It came from the air. My spare call button pendant lay on the bedside table where I'd dropped it earlier. In the light, it looked harmless. plastic, ordinary. But now it felt like it had weight, like it was part of the system that had just noticed me. The lullaby grew closer, not louder exactly, closer. Sunderland's second rule surfaced, and I hated it. I hated how my hands moved before my pride could stop them. I put my thumb in my mouth. The instant my lips sealed around it, the lullaby shifted. It didn't disappear. It changed direction, like water hitting a rock and flowing around it. My jaw locked. My throat tightened. I realized what Sunderland meant. I couldn't answer with my mouth full. I couldn't speak my name back if something tried to make me. The humming circled the room, searching. And then, right beside my ear, the voice tried again. Nathan. It wanted me to respond. It wanted my mouth to shape the word back. I kept my thumb in place and stared at the light until my eyes watered. Minutes passed. Maybe. Time didn't behave. My arm began to ache. My jaw trembled. My body begged for sleep. I fought it. I really did. But you can't stay awake forever, and whatever was humming knew that. At some point, my head tipped. At some point, my thumb slipped loose. At some point, my mouth opened on a breath that felt like surrender. The last thing I heard before sleep took me was the lullaby turning pleased again, like a lock clicking. When I woke up, I couldn't move right. My limbs felt heavy, wrong-weighted. My joints complained. My hands weren't mine. Thin skin, spotted, veins like blue cords under paper. I staggered to the mirror on the back of the door. Tom Sunderland stared back at me. Not the 50-year-old version my brain had tried to insist on. The real one. Old face, deep lines, mouth set like it had forgotten softness. But the eyes in that face were mine. Wide, panicked, trapped. I tried to say my name. It came out as a dry rasp. I shuffled into the hall, gripping the wall for balance, and saw my body, my actual body, walking down the corridor in clean scrubs, moving easy like it belonged. It wasn't me inside it. I knew it the way you know a wrong shadow. The way his gaze didn't scan for needs. It measured for opportunities. He reached the desk and rested his hands on the counter like he'd done it forever. The front doors opened. The man who had delivered Sunderland stepped inside, calm as ever. He went straight to my body. They spoke in low voices, heads angled close. I edged closer behind a corner, heart thudding slow in Sunderland's chest. I caught the man's words clearly, like he wanted me to. "Now that we've taken care of yours," he murmured, "we have another 20 years. My body nodded once, and Sunderland's voice came out of my mouth, out of my life, smooth and certain. "Plenty," he said. The man's eyes slid past my body and landed on me in the hallway shadow. No surprise. Recognition. He lifted his hand in a small, polite gesture. Not a wave. A receipt of service. Then he turned and walked back out, leaving the doors to close softly behind him. My body, Sunderland wearing me, turned away from the desk and walked deeper into the building, toward my locker, my phone, my name on the schedule, toward everything that had been mine the night before. I stood there shaking, too slow to chase, too weak to scream. A call button pendant hung around my neck now. I don't remember it being there. The cord pressed against my throat like a tag, like ownership. The desk call panel chimed once, just one soft ding, like the building acknowledging the change. And in that bright, buzzing morning light, I understood the simplest, worst part. Those rules weren't to protect me. They were to make sure the handoff went smoothly. Don't come near his room, because if you do, You'll be seen by the wrong thing in the wrong hallway. Suck your thumb, because if you can't speak, you can't refuse. Don't turn off the lights, because darkness is when it takes your outline, even if it's only for a second. I went back into Sunderland's room because I didn't know where else to go. The bed was made neatly. The chair by the window waited. The personal bag sat untouched on the dresser, like props after a play. On the wall near the door, a sheet of paper had been taped up, plain, curling at the edges. 3 lines, in careful block letters. Don't come near my room. Suck your thumb. Don't turn off the lights. Below them, in smaller letters, so faint I had to lean in close, was a 4th line I hadn't been told. Don't think it stops with you. Down the hall, a resident called out, thin and hopeful. Nathan? My throat tightened. My mouth wanted to answer. My tongue wanted to shape the word back to prove I was still here. I pressed my thumb against my lips, not to soothe myself, to keep my mouth from betraying me. Because the lights were on, and the building was awake, and my life was walking around in my skin. And somewhere beneath the normal sounds, the call panel, the soft squeak of shoes on waxed floor, I could hear a lullaby starting up again, patient as ever, like it already knew what came next.